So we don't have a community moment, so I will just move on. Unless someone wants to come up here and talk about themselves for like a minute and a half. Anyone? Any takers? No? Okay. All right, well, I am super excited to welcome our speaker today. We have Rae Alexander. Is that what you prefer? Okay. She is a local for now science fiction author. She will be moving to North Carolina very soon. So I'm sure we will really miss her once we get to know her today. She is self-published on Amazon and has her own publishing company called Berry and Blevins. All right. She's been published for over a year now, and at the end of this year, she will have 6 books that are out. And the information that she's going to be speaking on today will be out in a book in December. So she also has some extra books, some books that she has for sale out here in the foyer area, and she's actually doing that to donate all the money, the proceeds to those, for purchasing those books, will go to the Hope Box cancer survivor that they are highlighting this time. So that is really fantastic. So feel free, and she's going to sign them and everything. So afterwards, feel free to go and talk with her about those and pick one up for yourself. And now I'm just really excited to have her come up and talk with us. So she's going to speak with us. And remember, we do have 10 minutes of question and answer period at the end. So feel free to be thinking. I'm sure she will appreciate that. All right, thank you. Here is Rae. Thank you.
I might need this. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Okay, I get this question a lot. The biggest question is the biggest statement I get, and that is, I want to be a writer, what do I do? Or I want to be a creator, what do I do? And so I decided that I would, rather than tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of meat and potatoes, I promise, just a little tiny tidbits, but a little bit of milk first would be in order here. So I'm going to tell you 4 things that will stop you from being a creative person. 4 things that will stop the creative process. There's probably more, but I can think of 4 roadblocks. And whether you're a writer, you're a painter, you're an actor, you're a singer. I wish I had brought my keyboard. I should have. But you know, we have to focus on one thing, don't we? One tiny thing. But literally, these 4 things will prevent the creative juices from flowing out of you and onto the canvas or onto the paper or onto the stage. And the biggest excuse, and it's really not an excuse, it's not even a reason, it's more of an excuse. And it's more of a statement. And that statement is, I don't know. So I'm going to put up the first word, no. Let's see if it comes up. We'll see if this is big enough. No. Is that big enough?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No. Not the but it could be. They're frustrated. They give up because they don't know what they're going to do. They don't know the details. People tell me all the time, I want to be a writer, but I just don't know. Or I get this a lot, I'm an aspiring writer. I'm an aspiring writer? I mean, either you're writing or you're not. You're a writer or you're aspiring musician, either you're a musician or you're not. Am I right? So, I mean, it sounds harsh and direct, but if you want to say that you want to do something, I spent most of my life saying that I was going to do something, and I didn't do it until I started doing it. So it's like, it's really like, I want to quit smoking, or I want to lose weight, or I need to go on a diet, or I really need to be in touch with some family member, or I need to be a writer. I want to be a poet. I want to be a sculptor. I want to create something. I want to build something in my backyard. And nothing happens. So I don't know. There's no direction. There's no map. I recently planned out my trip to North Carolina, and I had to have little stops along the way. I had to plan out the hotels. I had to, and if I didn't do these kind of things, I didn't have an end goal, I'd never get there. I was teaching piano lessons one time, and I asked the student, what do you want to play? And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm here to learn the piano. And I'm like, well, it really depends upon what you want to do, what you like. He said he liked gospel music. Maybe that was to impress me, because at the time I was a gospel music singer and player. And I'm like, well, I brought you some classical pieces, but what do you really like? What do you really like to do? And he said, well, I really like 80s music. And I said, fine. First lesson is over. Go to the music store, pick up some 80s music, and I just put the classical music behind me, and I taught him how to play both gospel and 1980s music. So when people tell me they're going to write a book and they don't know what they like, but if they're honest in the answer of I don't know, I ask them, what do you like? And usually, you get this thing when you're growing up, you get this thing in school like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I still don't know, but I'm working on it. But that's really an unfair question, because we change, do we not? The body changes every 7 years, right? Every single cell is different. So I'm asking you right now, what do you want right now? Not tomorrow. What are you passionate about? What makes you tick? And I talk to people that study to be an engineer and they'd rather be a lawyer. I talk to people that study being a lawyer and they'd rather run a flower shop. Why? I see people cemented, because I run into a lot of people, and I see people that are cemented every single day in jobs that they hate, relationships that are making them miserable. And I know this sounds like a kind of a selfish thing, but I mean, and I'm not saying go out and get a divorce, please. But what I'm saying here is we make ourselves mentally, physically, and psychologically sick, not doing what we like, not being with who we like, not being around something that we like. If you like history, you should write history. If you like the ocean, you should paint the ocean, not people or apples, right? If you like to sing happy songs, then stop singing the blues, right? So know, what do you like? So now that you know what you like, the biggest thing people will say is, well, I don't know, I need to know what to write. I know my passion, I just don't know what to write down. So then they'll start these little excuses again. They'll say, I'm too tired when I get home. I am too, by the way. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too sick. I'm in a bad situation right now. I just broke up with someone and my heart is crushed. There's no way that I can be a creative person right now. And I'm like, okay, you need a moment, you need to pause. You need to write. You need to write right now. You need to create right now. Some of the lowest moments that I've had in my life, I've written some of the most wonderful things. I produced an album about 10 years ago, a gospel album, and I was broke. I owed money. I owed thousands of dollars. I paid it off. But at that time, I owed a lot of money, and I was homeless. But I wrote wonderful stuff. So you can't give anyone hope until you've crossed through the tunnel, you've gone through the darkness, you've gone through those waters of despair. But at that moment of your pain, you write it down, and that's the what? You write your pain. So you have your passion, and then after your passion, you write your pain, you write your dreams down, you take all your energy and you put yourself into it. Writing can be very depressing because we writers, we tap into very deep emotions. We tap into happiness, we tap into sadness. And speaking of writing, I'm going to give you, I told you some meat and potatoes about writing. So if for you wannabe writers out there, I had someone say they wanted to be a writer, but they didn't know how to describe something. And he didn't know what adjectives to use. And I told him, well, that's your problem. You're trying to write a novel before you create your story. You're trying to create your chapter before your paragraph. You're trying to create your sentence before your words. And I told him, in the first draft, just say what you feel, say what happened. I'll give you an example. Here's the first draft, okay. He gave her flowers and ran away. That's really boring, but it's okay. I got the job done. Second draft. He gave her the wilted flowers and ran away. Let's do it again. Third draft. He gave her the wilted flowers and ran away in the opposite direction. Final draft. He gave her the wilted flowers and ran away in the opposite direction, secretly hoping that she was watching him. But it didn't start that way. And most people try to write that final draft before they write the first. And that's the mistake. So you write it down, you get it down, you paint it, you visualize it, you shape it, and that is what you create the best. You put all your hopes and dreams, your pains, your sorrows, because really, it's all about you, and that's the next one. Okay, so I really like, and thank you very much for having me at this Oasis place. I really like one of your statements the most, where it says, people are more important than beliefs, right? Okay, I'm going to go a step further. When you're in the writing process, when you're in the creating process, you are the most important person. I know it sounds selfish, doesn't it? But I told you we write about the pain and the joy and the sorrow of our lives. But I'll be honest with you. I get accused a lot. People will say, well, writers are self-centered. They are. Writers are intensively creating something, and it's really about them. It is. Writing has severed relationships. It's caused the loss of jobs, the ignoring of other people and friends. It's a selfish event. I admit it. Or is it? A lot of my seclusion is selfish at first, but in reality, I have to interact with people. I'm doing it now. And in order to get everything done, my observations come from other people. People are always scared, is this going to be in a book? Well, I don't know, but don't stress out about it. But my reviews for my work come from other people. I need reviewers. I hire people to do my voices and my audibles so you can hear my books audibly. I need people. I need people to buy the work. So there's, we need people. There is the need for people, but there is a selfish part of it. And someone once told me that they could not write, literally. This was 2 weeks ago. He said he could not write because he wanted to watch TV, drink his tea, and take care of his cats after work. That was all the energy that he had. Someone else told me that they couldn't write because they didn't have the time, they had kids to raise to take care of. And part of this selfishness of writing, again, don't take this the wrong way, is giving up something, maybe rearranging something. We are in appearance arrogant and snobbish and selfish, and that's because we've given up things that we really didn't want to give up. We've made time to fulfill our dreams, and that means in order for you to do something, to write or create, you're going to have to give up something or rearrange something to make it happen. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying to go get a divorce and leave your kids and go to a cabin in the middle of the woods. You might be tempted to use those times to do something you absolutely enjoy, and it's totally mind-numbing, like television. I gave up 2 to 3 hours of television a day. I don't do that anymore. I don't have time. I was a recluse. Oddly enough, now I'm out there mingling with people. So once again, it's not always selfish. Creating is hard work. And my question to you is, do you want it so badly that nothing else matters? Because it should. It is selfish, but it's all about you. It really is. You know the cost, and believe what you know what you believe, you know, oh, wait a minute. There's a fourth word, believe. Have you noticed they're not in order? And that's the way it is, isn't it? Because we all get through to our journey a different way. It might be believe what you know, it might be know what you believe, it might be you what believe know, I don't know. Everyone goes into a different order. But at the end of the day, you should know what you believe. You should use some reasoning. A teacher once told me that whatever it is you believe, believe it with your heart. There was a guy named Paul. He was really popular with the Catholic Church a couple thousand years ago. And he said, and this is one of my favorite quotes, he said that if you have faith, keep it to yourself. And one of my favorite quotes that I always dish out if someone wants me to, that's not in there. Oh yeah, it is. But what it really means is, like, if you believe something, it needs to be here. And you need to know what you believe and why you believe it. I used to say when I was a teacher, if I had a classroom full of atheists, I'd teach them Christianity. If I had a classroom full of Christians, I'd teach them atheism and the difference between Western and Eastern religion. Why? Because I want them to know what they believe. Even if you don't believe anything. I have a lot of atheist friends, and they know why they are atheists. They know why they believe that. How are we doing on time, by the way? We're good? Okay. So I'm going to close with a little bit of, sort of bring this together about know what you believe and the things that keep you from being who you want to be and focusing on your dreams. I want to read you a little bit of a blog that I wrote and a poem that I wrote after my dad passed away about a month ago. My dad was a lover of everyone, of all people, and it really got me to love the diversity of life. His life is too harsh and rough not to love people. And the tragedies we've just been reading about and hearing about recently, horrible, horrible. But what they're not saying is all of the love that's out there too. And there's a lot of goodness out there. So I want to tell you that you matter. Every single second, your dreams matter, your goals matter, you matter. One of the greatest quotes is never give up, right? And none of this, I'm too young, I'm too old, I don't have enough money, people don't like me. Heard that one? I've failed too many times, I'm not attractive, I am too, blah, blah, blah. But what it comes down to is you feel like you cannot live without something, you feel like you cannot attain anything, you think it's impossible, and all these things that you think are important are probably not really that important. And some of the things that you don't think are important are probably really important. So I just want to remind you, never give up, never fear, face your fears. If you want love, you have to risk rejection. If you want a successful business, you have to risk financial failure. If you want happiness, you have to risk losing your stuff and breaking your heart. So don't let fear keep you from getting your full potential in life. Stop the fear and turn on some hope, is what I'm really saying here. There was a guy rejected by Walt Disney, and fortunately, he didn't give up. The wonderful Charles Schulz, creator of Snoopy. Stop the fear and turn on the hope. Maricel Apetin did not give up. She wanted to be a chef. That was her dream. She took a course in restaurant management. She received medals for arts and crafts and later became a pastry chef. Oh yeah, did I mention that she did lose both of her arms when she was 11? Stop the fear, turn on the hope. So I ask you, don't be so blue, you've got you. Keep writing when everyone says that you're wrong. Keep smiling when all your days are too long. Keep dancing when fabulous legs are no more. For you have a heart that can tap on the floor. Your strength is your faith. You can wipe off your frown. For you're moving up, you're not moving down. Keep playing when all of the energy's gone. Keep painting when all the models are home. Keep trying when failure is all you have known. Keep moving the thousands of errors you've sown. Keep loving and trusting the people you see. Rejection is only a part of the we. You must see the good things, not evil or sad, but even when you don't, it isn't so bad. The end of a thing is often the best. You must let it go and get it off your chest. Reactions are normal and part of the day. Don't stay there, because others are waiting to play. But even if no one is gathered around, and even if no one can hear your loud sound, you must beat your drum, you must play your flute, for you have a vision that mustn't be moot. You still have the playground when no one's around. The toys are still yours if loneliness pounds. You don't need a something, a what, or a who. Don't be so blue. You've got you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll entertain. Anything else? Yes? Oh, it's on my blog. If you actually go to Rae T. Alexander blog, or if you go to my website, RaeTAlexander.com, I have a section called blogs, and it's in there. It's in my poem section, among others. There's lots in there. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, I dedicated that to my dad recently, who passed, and I thought it was a good one. So for him. So, thank you.
The Facebook, or say it again.
Sorry?
Say your website again.
My website, which has all my social media, but my website is Rae, R-A-E, T. Alexander, RaeTAlexander.com. If you mess up, you can put R.T. Alexander, and I did that for a reason, because some people just couldn't figure out Rae, R-A-E. I'm like, okay. Or if you if you Google Rae T. Alexander, you'll find it, but it's RaeTAlexander.com. So, questions? I've been out there for about a year now. I have some famous followers, and it's funny that because I know the age group of my audience. When I ask them, do you know this person? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, and they don't know this person, but they know another person, and I always find out the age group. But I'm not going to go there, because I don't want to know your age. It's just...
What are some of the books that you've written?
The first book that I wrote was The Royal Stones of Eden, and it's a series. It's sort of a King Arthur kind of time travel, but it's also modern day. And it's got everything but the kitchen sink. One reviewer in Oregon said, I got everything. I was very ambitious. And I was. It was a first novel. I recommend that you get the Audible version of it, because I have 2 Grammy winners Stefan Rodnicki and Gabrielle DeCure. Maybe you don't know their name, but you know their work. Ender's Game? Anyone know the Ender's Game? So they did the Ender's Game, so they do my book as well. Very, very good. But Royal Stones was my first one.
Nice.
And matter of fact, this was going to be sometime in December. The longer version, but a short book of this kind of message about the 4 roadblocks will be December. So, but I'm writing. The epics are more for the guys out there. A lot of men like my epics and time travel, and a lot of women like my mysteries. So I have the Joe Danning Mystery Collection. It's about a woman that goes to North Carolina, and she's been away for a while. And she doesn't quite fit in. And she's got this Western ideology trying to fit in with the Eastern ideology. And but then that's when I sort of have some fun. She solves mysteries and she can see dead people, but she doesn't know it at the time if they seem alive. So, but it's called the Joe Danning Collection, and every book starts with that girl with the red hair, that house on Dakota Street, and on Halloween, that doctor in the ER. A very quaint story about a doctor who's making money with euthanasia. It's up to our heroine to stop to save the day. So. Questions? Yes?
What were some of your biggest hurdles starting your publishing company?
The biggest hurdle was you can't do that. And I think one of the things that I see and I hear all the time, I get this a lot. I'll tell people, oh, I'm a writer, and they're like, yeah, right. Or I'm a publisher, yeah, right. And I say, Google me. And they Google me, ooh, I guess you are a writer. And I don't say that to be proud, but I just say that the beginning was, I can't do this. Yes, you can. And so I hooked up with getting over that hurdle of I can't. I hooked up with people that did. And I connected with people. And that's really, really a very good thing to do. If you're going to do something, connect to people that are doing it. And one of the saying is correct. If you want to be successful, hang around successful people. I have a lot of successful writers that we follow each other, and we need each other. You know, I don't know why writers follow each other, because we hate each other, because that's our competition. But we do. I have no idea. It's like lawyers. I don't get that. But yeah, that was my biggest hurdle about just getting over that. And now that I have people coming up to me and saying, hey, well, you're published, and I'm like, wow. So I intend to maybe publish some other people's stuff, which is pretty cool. So, questions?
What age range do you write for?
Ooh,
Is
you
it
know,
for adult, YA, or?
you know, here's the thing. It's not designed for YA. Believe it or not, it's the age of our crowd right now. Most of the time, the majority of my listeners and followers of the books, at least, Twitter's a different animal. We won't talk about the 45,000 on Twitter who knows what they want. But I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe they have. But I'd say the age group generally runs between 25 and 55 as a majority. And it really depends. Depends upon the gender also. I say a lot of older ladies like the mysteries, and a lot of young readers like the action, things going on, time travel, that kind of thing. So it can vary. But I am, because I'm always planning, I'm always thinking of something, I am planning on doing a YA series. It's going to be a spin-off of my mystery series where her 13-year-old son sort of has adventures of his own. And so I am going to do a YA series with a spin-off. That's coming. So, questions?
Do you do your audiobooks?
Do I read them? My thought was to read this one in December. I don't, it's sort of a personal one. Let's kind of talk here. It'd be hard for someone to do this. I think I would think that someone would want me to read this one, but I don't do my others. I hire professional actors and actresses. They're very good. They're really good. So I kid you not. I'm applauding them, not even me. Check out my audibles because are they not good? Okay. And I have my scary mysteries are read by a most macabre lady from New York, and she talks and she can talk. She's really, really good like this for my mysteries. But then for my epics, it's more dramatic, so I want my dramatic readers for that.
Are you on Audible?
Am I personally?
No, your book.
My books, yes, they are on Audible. I have three Audibles out now. Both of my mystery stories are on Audible, and my Royal Stones is on Audible. I have the prequel sequel coming out in August, which is 10 times better. Because it always is. It's your first novel is like, what are you doing? And you try to figure it out, but now that I have, yes.
What was the name of your book coming out?
Maddie is the next book coming out. Highly recommend it. It's written sort of to be stationary as well, so if you haven't read Royal Stones, that's okay. But it's about a lady that's ripped out of time. She actually gets saved from the Titanic and pulls into a spaceship, and then she gets plunged into the 1980s, 1990s, into the body of someone else and lives another life. So,
That sounds
pretty cool
interesting.
stuff. It's my favorite. People always ask, that's going to be my favorite. And that comes out in August. On a friend of mine's birthday who claims that I did it for her birthday, but I did not. August 31st. Maddie is coming out. So really excited about that one. Yes?
What part of North Carolina are you going?
I'm going to Salisbury. Familiar with North Carolina? Between North Carolina, are you from there?
She's from
Where at?
6 years.
Apex, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Raleigh, Durham.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be between Charlotte and Winston-Salem. So lots of good food there.
Oh, yes.
No offense, Utah. Utah has wonderful arts and crafts and skiing, but the food, sorry, North Carolina.
Except for the Stones.
Okay, the scones, okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. All right, anything else? Okay, thank you.